There are 1.8 billion globally. They will make 75% workforce by 2025. They will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers of every conversation. Get more insights on African Millennials on Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
That's cool on the beat.
Okay, so this is the fact, right? I've been having a very, very interesting time listening to two HR guys come to tell us what millennials are like in the workspace today. From the angle of an HR person, I can say we millennials are doing a whole lot more than the older generation think we are. Big ups to you. If you're a millennial out there, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, Belgium is in Europe, but then yes, I'm sure there's someone in Belgium listening. Lagos people, the old hold up and everything. We've been doing so much. We've been doing so much of good. And I like the fact that Adetosoye came on Friday and talked about the importance of hiring for skill and hiring for character, and then gave his verdict on which one is best. So you can go check the podcast on www.africabusinessradio for the podcast with Adetosoye Badmos. Yes, that's the name. Adetosoye Badmos on that. All right, it's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, midweek. I hope you closed your deals yesterday. I'm Tomi Wale. It's the African Millennial Show again on Africa Business Radio. Welcome. And I have a very interesting person with me today. I met her for the first time some minutes before she walked into the studio, and I could see a lot of charisma, a lot of leadership appearance in her. All right. She serves as, just a brief thing about her, she serves as the CEO and publisher of Savvy Magazine Africa, in addition to the overall editorial direction for Savvy. Right. This role is responsible for maintaining the tonal and aesthetic consistency of the Savvy brand across platforms. She's 27 years old. She's an entrepreneur. She has the desire to shape new sets of mentally independent and self-confident leaders by creating a link between young minds, their potential, and the audience. With all of this, she works a 9-to-5 job. Not in a one-man company or something, in a multinational. She works with MTN. I mean, Tofunmi Akinseye, hi. How you're like, I mean, should I bow? You're doing all of that.
No.
I mean, wow.
Hi, Tommy.
How are you doing though?
I'm fine.
How's work?
Fine.
Or should I add an S to that? How are the walks?
Oh well, we're pushing.
Okay.
Thank you for having me on the show.
I mean, it's my pleasure. I think you're going to be the first lady on the show.
Oh, yippee!
Okay.
Drum rolling.
All right. So, quick things this afternoon, right?
Okay.
So this is me right now. So I finished school. I worked for about 4 years, in this company that runs food chains on transit routes in Nigeria. So I was the creative director at the time. And then I resigned, right? Of course, I was doing my side hustle before I resigned. So when I resigned, I started chasing my own things, and now started doing what the CEOs would do, so you have to go chase money and at the same time balance what's happening. And I remember then I won't have time to sleep. In fact, so many things happened at the time. Cost me a relationship, Oh, wow. I can't imagine doing that 9-to-5 and entrepreneurship. I mean, I can't. But from everything about you, millennials have energy, right?
Yeah.
The older generation says we jump a lot.
Yeah.
The HR guys have come in the last 2 episodes and talked about how the energy can be utilized to get results. From your perspective, what do you think the value of millennials are? right now, especially African millennials? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I am one. I am a millennial, so
Right.
speaking from my own perspective and my relationship with millennials as well. Yeah, so it's a fact like that millennials are dynamic, driven, resilient. You know, they have the room to be very creative and innovative. They're also, you know, really restless and hungry for success and all of that. However, having said that, my experience so far with millennials is that, yeah, we're resilient, we're driven and all of that. We like to get things done regardless, okay? But I think that, I might be wrong, that a lot of millennials these days are more money-driven than value-driven.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
Yeah, from the few experiences that I've had, so I have worked with a couple of young guys and young girls who just feel like, you know, it's all about the money, who are not really, really interested in developing their skill sets.
So gets expensive. Now. It should be all about the money.
I know.
Right.
But then, you know, value equates money.
Right.
You know, you have to be bringing something on the table
Right.
to earn.
Right.
So I would rather say to millennials out there that, you know, take out time to learn as much as you can. It's that knowledge that you have that will bring in the money. You know, be more, I mean, millennials should be able to embrace things that would, you know, sharpen their horizon, that would, you know, increase your knowledge, get to learn, you know, be patient.
Okay.
Let's follow the process. Let's trust the journey. Let's follow the process.
So, no,
you know,
you
because
see that process thing. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
going to cut you there.
Yeah.
That process and patience thing. Because can you take time to explain it? Because you can say be patient and you're sitting down for long, right? And
being complacent is
can you just
quite
be clear on
being
that?
complacent is quite different from being patient. You know, I'm not saying okay, you have to slow down on yourself or not do certain things or not be. I mean, in the end goal is for you to be able to pay your bills. The end goal is for you to be able to make money. Adulting is hard, you know, and all of that. But having said that, if you do not follow the due process to learn, to have the necessary skill sets, you will just see yourself, you know, literally struggling. It almost turns into a rat race, you know, because nobody will pay you so much money if they're not getting value in return.
Right.
So if everything you have at the back of your mind is I just want to make money, forgetting that you really need to equip yourself with the necessary knowledge that you need, you probably will miss out on the point.
And that takes time.
And that takes time.
So emphasizing on the value of millennials right now is we have the energy.
We have the energy.
We have the creative thinking.
Juices and all of that, yeah.
Right. We want new things.
We want new
We want
things.
new atmosphere.
Yeah.
But then millennials need to learn. So, for the first time, I think Chooks mentioned this.
Yeah.
This is someone who is deep in the millennial age telling us that we need to go to school again. Is that what you're saying?
When you're talking about education and all of that, it goes beyond the four walls. We are all educated. We all went to school, but it goes beyond that.
Right.
See, I am I've worked with MTN for about 3 years now.
Okay.
I've worked with other people, and I have also come to see that you would only be paid for the level of knowledge that you have. Okay. Now, I have worked with companies, I've worked for people, and I've had people work for me. I've had a lot of young chaps work for me, and then I hire them, and then for a few weeks, I realized that I'm even the one giving them the handouts. I'm even the one teaching them. You understand? And then I find out a lot of these young people, before you know, they're already asking for money for this, money for that. And I'm like, I'm not even getting value for the money that I am paying you for. Do you understand?
Right, so I'm sorry, I'm laughing because there's a joke somewhere there. So I saw it yesterday. I'm sorry, just because I saw it yesterday. There was this guy that tweeted at Church of Satan
Yeah.
on Twitter. So he said, "Hi Church of Satan, how do I join Illuminati?"
Oh wow.
And then Church of Satan replied him and said, "Well, the first thing you need to do, okay, join Illuminati means you want to have some knowledge, right? So the first thing you need to do is get a book, open it, get knowledge, look for a job, apply that knowledge,
Exactly.
and make money."
That's it, really.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying this, particularly because I believe in process, right? There was this meme that flew around about, it was a picture of a plane, and it was like, okay, even a plane has to first of all walk, then jog,
Exactly.
then run,
Exactly.
before it flies. So I'm enjoying this conversation. I think this is a very, very interesting episode. Thank you, Tofunmi, for coming. No, let's have a short break and then we'll be back.
All right.
There's so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
They are 1.8 billion globally. They will make 75% of workforce by 2025. They will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers for every conversation. Get more insights on African millennials on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
All right. Welcome, man. I'm enjoying this session. I don't know about you, most especially because I feel like I'm in a mentorship session right now. I had to pay for this session. I had to come see Tofunmi, and she's really schooling me right now.
Oh, Tommy.
I know,
don't
no.
patronize me.
I'm not. You're schooling me, man. Because education, it's light. I think we're having a conversation. Some guys yesterday. And, they were telling me about why I have a particular perimeter on something I'm doing, and I'm saying that okay, if you have not been doing some things for a number of years, don't talk to me. Right, that is me. Maybe because I'm a bit of a hybrid, right? I have the old school in me and the new school, right? And I believe in there's a common joke or just line about says say water the boil, no me say egg done. That is the fact that the water is boiling doesn't mean that the egg is ready yet. You might just open it and then you might not like what you see.
Yeah.
So okay, Tofunmi, on process, right, and patience, which is something you've been hammering for some time. How have you been able to do this? We all have bills to pay. We all have this interesting passion born inside of us. How have you been able to?
Yeah, so I would say talking about patience and trust in the process, what it does for you is it builds your character. And when you build your character, when you're going through a journey, there are a lot of things that you'll be faced with that would build your character. And now in building your character, it helps you to sustain certain relationships. And in sustaining certain relationships, that's how you grow. And that's how you make money.
Sorry, can we take that again?
Okay.
I've never heard it that way before. Sorry, Tofunmi, can you take that again?
Oh my God. I just said it off my head. And
I can remember.
Okay, can you? Okay.
You said once you get into the...
Yes. Going through the process, going through the journey, what you're doing is that you're building character. Yeah. And now in building character, you're sustaining certain relationships.
Yeah.
It is this relationships that will then turn or transcend into the money that you're chasing.
Oh, that's tweetable. Man, thank you.
Yeah. So over the years, juggling my business, working with MTN, to the point where I've gotten, I have had to work with people. I've had to meet people. Okay. Now, your relationship with these people, like I said before, either good or bad, will go a long way in sustaining you, whatever you're doing.
Okay.
People will make, there's sometimes some decisions we made about you or about your business behind you.
Right.
There are people who will speak for you.
Right.
Now, when these people are speaking for you, what are the things that they would say about you? Sometimes it's not the hardest worker or the most hardworking person that gets the job or that gets the money.
Okay.
Most times it's about the people. I mean, it's about how you're able to manage people.
Okay. So managing people, both people ahead of you,
yes,
people on your level,
people, even
people,
sometimes people below you.
Yeah. Right.
Character is key.
Right.
And that's what most of the millennials need to learn.
Right.
Building relationship is very key.
Right.
I have had relationship for the past 5 years that I have built, and I am still getting a lot of value from those relationships, from those seeds that I've sown 5 years back. I am still reaping from them. So building character can never be overemphasized in your journey through life. Whatever you're doing, you have to be able to build certain character, and you have to be able to work with people. You have to be able to manage relationships, and somehow you have to find a way to be on everybody's good book. It's not possible, totally possible, but you need to try it.
So, like what the old rabbi said, try to be at peace with all men.
Try to be at peace with all men. That has worked for me. Sometimes you have to be a bit diplomatic. Sometimes you have to play politics. Somehow, you just have to learn how to be on the good books of people, especially people that matter to your life's journey.
So I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Can you share an example of something? Because this thing, I have a couple of examples myself playing in my head. Times where I messed some things up, and in times where I actually played to script according to what the deal was supposed to be, and things worked. But can we get some examples? And I'm sure there's someone who might just want to identify. Yeah.
So here am I juggling 8 to 5, 9 to 5 for the business. When I started working with MTN, for example, I sort of did find a way to hide my side also. I didn't want them to really know what was going on with me, and all of that. But Savvy became really big. So there was no way I could really hide anymore. And I needed to put myself out there because the platform was becoming bigger than me.
Right.
And I'm working with people, both bosses, both colleagues who would feel like, is she really putting her 100% into this work? She has a side also that somehow is doing well. So I had to find a way to manage my bosses and manage my colleagues.
So how did you find that way too? Because you had to find a way. A way. Show us the way. I mean,
Let's be. I'm a very practical person.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing that I did was that I made sure that, first thing is that if you have or you want to go into a 9 to 5, make sure that your 9 to 5 is not totally conflicting with your passion. Okay? Yeah, I'll explain. Okay, so what I do as a publisher, I'm into media. Yeah. Now, I work with MTN in the digital marketing department that is closely related to media. Right. So I enjoy what I'm doing with MTN. Right. I am happy working with MTN. Right. Because it's closely related to my passion. Right. Do you understand?
That's a good one.
I'm not working in MTN and feeling like, no, this is not what I enjoy doing. I am a copywriter, so that's what I do. I write for MTN. I create content for MTN, and that's pretty much close to what I do with Savvy. Do you understand? So because I love what I'm doing, I'm usually not found one thing when it comes to me having to do my job. I do my job. I put in all my effort into that job because I love it. It is what I love doing. So I do not find it difficult doing my 9 to 5. I enjoy it. It comes with so much ease and
so it just
fun.
helps you. So you can just
so it just helps me
things.
to create a balance.
Right.
Do you understand? Because what I'm learning from Savvy, I put into MTN. What I learn from MTN, I put into Savvy.
So when it comes to bosses, how do you...
So for bosses, really, every boss just wants you to make sure that you get their jobs done.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's it. They don't care how... there's sometimes I'm under pressure. I need to attend to something about Savvy, on Savvy, and this is MTN. I need to work and all of that. The first thing that comes to my mind is MTN.
Okay.
Before Savvy, because they pay the bills, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I also still want to remain in MTN.
Okay.
You know, I don't want the situation where my boss comes in and is like, oh, it's Savvy you're doing with your time. And I make sure that if there's any issue, MTN comes first.
Sorry, do you have fun?
I find a way to.
Okay, because,
somehow.
juggling these two
my
things.
social life is really boring, really, really boring.
Okay, so
yeah, really. But I try
it's
to.
Making
I try to as much as I can.
Plus, okay.
Yeah, so your 8 to 5 comes first, really, because that's what as long as you're working there, you owe them that time.
Right.
You have to do your job.
Right.
If there's never a reason for your boss to, come at you and say, you're not doing my job well. That's where the issue is. When they begin to say, you're not doing your job well. There's something distracting you. Do you understand? So
that's where trouble starts.
Yeah, that's where trouble starts. And that's how I've been able to manage my bosses, because I know that you shouldn't allow that to happen. You have to be able to stay on it, stay on top of it. And I think it's just easier because my job is in sync with my passion.
So for me, man, you've schooled millions of people this afternoon.
I hope so.
Come on. This is that point really about ensuring that even while you're doing your 9 to 5, look for something that aligns with your passion.
Yeah.
It just brings it home. Really, it just makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, let's have a short break and then we'll be back.
All right.
Yeah.
There are 1.8 billion globally. That will make 75% workforce by 2025. That will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers of every conversation. Get more insights on Africa Millennials on Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
That's cool on the beat.
Right, so there's this question.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's this thing. I'm a victim. No, I'm not a victim. Is victim good? Is it a good thing or bad? Okay.
Depending.
Happened to me, right? Or someone here would know that when I was in uni, I mean, I was running a business. I was running a show, right? So the organization I was the head of the media. But then by the time I was getting close to done with school, I attended OAU, I was consulting fully for five other organizations.
Wow.
I had a job in Lagos already. Yeah. So came out, then got into. I'm using myself as a lab rat right now. Because I know there are a couple of people like that. The educational system in Nigeria right now or in Africa right now is funny. There's this chart out right now by World University Ranking.
Yeah.
So it puts dots of different colors depending on the grade on different continents, just to show how many high institutions are there in this course. Africa is white. Yeah. Africa just has about maybe 3 or 4 dots or something like that. So when it comes to education now, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of people want to do things outside. So that if you think that, let me try and get educated, right? And let me maybe do some things. You might not necessarily be in the right environment for that. Right? If maybe somewhere else now, you know that the education you're getting is actually education. So, what ways do you think people should actually get educated today? The universities that the baby boomers attended and a bit of the Gen X are not the same universities that a lot of millennials and a bit of Gen Z are attending right now. Right. So in getting educated, in building that value that we talked about in the first question, right? Because this was me. The person that employed me in Lagos was a whole different school for me. It taught me everything from money to leadership in a different way entirely, right? To mindfulness, right? To so many things like that. So it was some sort of an interesting training for me. It was a manager in Shell and things like that. So I just kept gleaning from him. So what ways do you think people should get educated today, as apart from uni?
Very interesting. I think first and foremost, pay attention to yourself and to... Okay. Yeah. So I think first and foremost, pay attention to yourself. One, to who you are, to the things that interest you, to the things you do better than the next person. Now, once you've been able to identify that, now turn that passion into a skill set. Okay?
How?
By learning so much about that particular trait or passion or talent that you have.
How?
Building yourself. Okay, so let's go practical again.
Okay.
For example, I went to school, I read economics, and what I'm doing right now is very different from economics. Yeah, we know our educational system is messed up. Those days we were reading... When you're doing economics, our textbooks were foreign books.
And things like
they were foreign books. We're talking dollars and all of that. It wasn't so, quite relative to what was happening in the Nigerian economy. So we know all of that. Our educational system is messed up. But I'd always had a flair for writing, and that was what brought about Savvy. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how Savvy led me to me working with MTN.
Okay. That's about
so I started Savvy, I think, in my 300 level back then in school, and that's how I started. I did my first edition all by myself, wrote all the articles, conducted the interviews and all of that. So I started writing, and I started building on that particular value and passion, talent that I had. I had several editions and then finally left uni, and I'm like, okay.
And of course you had references that you were trying to model at the time to make Savvy look like.
Exactly.
So it was training you.
So it was training me and actually preparing me for the future that I did not even know. You know. So fast forward to after service, there was an opportunity at MTN. I went for the interview. It was for a role in digital marketing. Trust me, before I got to that interview, I knew nothing about digital marketing.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. I was managing service page at that time. I was managing the social media page. So I had some, understanding about social media, but not in depth, understanding. But I was doing something. I was posting on the page. I was doing everything, So fast forward to the interview. I got there. There was a written interview, like a digital marketing written interview. And when I saw the interview, I'm like, I knew nothing.
Okay.
It was called digital marketing. But thank God there was an opportunity for a one-on-one interview. So they said, okay, what can you do? I said, I'm a publisher. I write. Thank God I had the magazine when they picked up the magazine, looked at it, and said, okay, what do you do on social media? I give them a brief on this, whatever about what I do on social media for Savvy. They looked at it and like, okay, interesting, we'll get back to you. By the time I got my letter, I saw copywriting. Like the role I was given was copywriting. I'm like, copywriting? I didn't even know what copywriting meant. So I went to look at the dictionary. Oh, okay, it was writing, but advertorial writing.
Then you now started studying that.
Then I started studying that. I started learning.
Just school yourself at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, just find out what you love doing. build it, learn, let it become a skill, be very good at it, and before you know it, I'm telling you, that's all you need, really.
Wow. Thank you so much. There's always something about people who have similar names, like Tomi. So I was telling her earlier that my mom would add the phone in my name. So Tofunmi, Olaoluwa Tofunmi, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy. I'm confirmed here. You are a very, very interesting person. It's been an interesting afternoon. Everybody listening, I'm sure they had a very, very good time. Educate yourself, guys. Read. There's the internet. Read something. Google something. Read Wikipedia about it. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, the listeners. Thank you, that person over there listening to Africa Business Radio. To play this back again, go on africabusinessradio.com and listen to the podcast. Check Africa Business Radio on Twitter. Sorry, what's your Twitter? Are you on social media?
I am at Tofunmi.a. At
Tofunmi.a, Instagram and Twitter. And Twitter. Please ask her more questions, right? And I'm Tomi Wale, Tomi Wale _ on Twitter and Instagram. I would see you. No, not see. You'll hear from me, and we'll have more conversations on the African Millennial Radio Show on Friday. Have a beautiful afternoon. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
That's cool on the beat.